Hello everyone and happy Easter. I've got no eggs for you today, but I do have a few stimulus packages that may make you happy as this bunny here. So if you want to see these slides or you want to get a copy of themselves, send me an email to smallbusiness@emergent.com.au. If you have any questions, comment below. I'm always available by phone or via email or via any social media platform. So let's get cracking here today. So what I wanted to cover off on first is just a little bit of housekeeping on how this video is going to run. Now this is an update or an overview on the small medium enterprises or small businesses and sole traders / self-employed people out there. The reason being I'm focusing so much on the sole traders is there's been a broadening or a development in the requirements or who can actually get the JobKeeper package. So that's the $1,500 a fortnight. So that's been extensively broadened, and I'll be touching on that at option at the point number 5, so slide 5. All the other ones I'm going to go over pretty quickly. It's just going to be a video touching on each one that's available for small businesses out there. Because I've gone into detail on a number of them, they will be very brief. And if you do want to get that detail again, watch those previous videos. So let's get going. And the instant asset write-off, so that, as you know, is increased from 30,000 to 150,000, available to small businesses turning over under $500 million, and that will end 30 June 2020. So that asset has to be installed prior to 30 June or on 30 June 2020. And ready for use as per the normal rules, and this will revert back to $1,000. So if you have a big asset and you want to get that instant asset write-off for the whole year, get in there and install that asset ready for use prior to 1 July 2020. Every one of these slides will have a link to the Treasury website. They're very good PDFs and they are updating them. So if you've looked at one before, I suggest going in and downloading it again. All right, accelerated depreciation. So this is a upfront 50% deduction on all eligible assets. Once you've got that initial deduction, you'll then use your normal depreciation rules going forward. So for small businesses, they'll actually be able to deduct 57.5% if you're using that small business pool in that first year, and then you'll go on to using 30% from there on, which will cover most assets. Who's this available to? Small businesses turning over 500 million, and those eligible assets are plant and equipment, etc., not buildings or anything like or capital works like that. And the period here is a bit longer, so you'll have from 12 March 2020 all the way to 30 June 2020. Obviously, if you purchase something and get it installed ready for use prior to 30 June 2020, you'll probably just write the whole off using the instant asset write-off. All right, boosting cash flow for employers. So this is the one that's most complicated to explain, but thankfully all you have to do is lodge your BASs as per normal and you will get what is owed to you. So let's start with any new developments. I think in my last video I might explain it not quite right, so I'm going to touch on the timings. So the timings are, let's just say you've got $20,000 worth of PAYG withholding and you're a quarterly lodger. So this initial boost, separate to the additional boost, will be for these two periods here. Let's say you have 20 grand this quarter in quarter 3 and 20 grand in quarter 4. You're going to get back 20 grand here on the 28th of April and another 20 grand here on the 28th of July. So you haven't reached your $50,000 cap for that quarter, and that's going to be the basis for your next cash flow or your additional boost. So 40 grand here, and then you'll have 20 grand in this quarter being half this period, and another 20 grand for the September quarter. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, comment on below and I will try and explain it a little bit better. But just be aware, I've got my train of thought. Yes, that's right. So you're not actually getting cash. You're getting a credit integrated client account. This means if you've got prior outstanding debts, it's likely going to offset those. And the only way you really get a refund is if you've already made a payment and the ATO will repay you. Otherwise, it's just a simple debit to your ATO credit client account and a credit. So it's going to net off, so you're not paying PAYG withholding. Next, early release of super. I've touched on this one before. Pretty straightforward. It is now available for you to register on MyGov to apply for this. So it's, I think, in the first screen you'll see coronavirus registrations. You click on that, it'll take you to a second screen, and there you'll have your two, one being, I believe, the job seeker, and then one below it being your election to apply for a release of superannuation. So if you've got $10,000, the first one has to be between now and 1 July 2020, and the second lot between 1 July 2020 and the 24th of September 2020. So you don't get the full year. You have to do it before 24th of September 2020 to get that second one. Who is going to be eligible? So that's anyone that's been unemployed, had their hours reduced by 20%, or a reduction in turnover for those self-employed people of 20% as well. All right, here we go. This is what we've all been waiting for. Now, this slide pretty much sums up the benefit to sole traders and self-employed people out there. And this is much broader than I thought it was, but I did kind of hint that it was going this way. So let's get into it. So the following business structures will now be eligible for the JobKeeper. So that's the $1,500 per fortnight. So those businesses operating through a sole trader structure will now be eligible to receive the JobKeeper payment themselves, as well as anyone they employ. Now, anyone that has a partnership, a business through a partnership, one of the partners in that partnership will be able to apply for the JobKeeper payment. The similar situation for a company, one of the directors of that company will be able to apply for the JobKeeper payment. And as well as those shareholders. So if you have shareholders receiving dividends instead of a wage, one of the shareholders will be able to apply for the JobKeeper payment. And finally, if you've got a trust and you're running your business through your trust, one of the beneficiaries will be able to apply for the JobKeeper payment. So the requirements and everything are the same, and I'm going to touch on them again in the next slide. But this is extremely important if you're a sole trader or self-employed. So you're running your business through one of those other structures and you're not actually receiving a wage. You're actually just drawing funds from the business. This now will allow you to apply for the JobKeeper payment. So, like I said, $1,500 per fortnight. Now, just a quick note. I think in the previous video I mentioned that you do not have to pay super on it. That is technically true, but you do have to pay super on the previous wage arrangement. So say, for instance, your employee was getting $500 a fortnight. Now they're getting $1,500. You do have to pay the super on the $500. You must be carrying on a business from March 2020. The GST turnover has to have fallen by 30%, or your general turnover, but they're just calling it GST to it fits within those rules. And now there's going to be some flexibility with regards to new business. So if you're a new business and you've been expecting a lot more growth, there's going to be some flexibility when you apply to explain your circumstances, provide that proof, and you will be able to apply for this JobKeeper payment. And the same for those businesses that might have seasonal turnover. It's just they're going to be quite flexible, and as long as you can show that you've had a reduction due to, or estimate that you're going to have a reduction due to the coronavirus, you'll be able to get this JobKeeper payment. So eligible employees. So this is paid to the people employed as at 1 March 2020. They have to be full-time, part-time, or casual for the previous 12 months. They have to be Australian residents, 16 years or older as of 1 March 2020, and not receiving a JobKeeper payment from someone else, from another employer. And this is pretty much when it's going to run from 30 March 2020 through to the 27th of September 2020. All right, ADO administration relief. So the next few slides are pretty boring, I guess. But long story short, I'll try and touch on the most important part. So this is essentially the government pumping a bunch of money into relative organisations, allowing you to get some tax relief. So the ability to defer the payments up to 6 months, and you can now vary your pay-as-you-go instalments. So this is where if you have to pay your income tax in advance, you'll be able to reduce that to nil, and that liability won't be there. So you'll just pay your tax at the end of the year instead of paying it as you go. And yeah, everything else is that's for the March quarter. Temporary relief from financial distress businesses. That this is the one where it's making it harder for creditors to come after you with regards to bankruptcy. So that's kind of all there. Feel free to pause it and have a look at those. And this will continue. They've essentially changed the legislation in the Corporations Act, and this will continue to the 24th of September 2020. There's nothing else there. This is all about making it easier for small businesses to get loans. One of my business partners in my other business has actually gone through this process, and they are out there helping the small businesses. So if you do need a loan and you're looking to purchase something, go and see your bank, and feel free to shop around if your bank doesn't help you. So they should be making it very easy for you to get a loan, and that loan will have a 6-month repayment holiday. So you're not going to have to make any repayments for 6 months, and the loan can be up to $250,000. And this is for businesses who have up to $50 million turnover, and can apply for these loans between essentially now and the 30th of September 2020. So this apprentice and trainees grants, I've touched on that in detail before, and essentially you get 50% of your apprentice's wage up to $7,000 per quarter. So your business has to be we've just lost our little slide. Sorry about that, guys. I'll get that back for you. Right, so 20 employees or less, and the apprentice has to be training at your organisation from 1 March 2020, and you can re-engage one that you've previously let go as well. So you do have to lodge a claim for this, and can do that now up until the 31 December 2020. And that is it. So if you have any questions, comment below. I hope you guys have a great Easter, and I do hope those sole traders and people that are running businesses through companies and not taking any wages have now the ability to go out there and apply for this. So I don't think I mentioned it, but you just do jump on the ATO website, just type in JobKeeper ATO and then register your interest. They will then send that application or further information out to you, and you'll be able to get it. So all the best and have a good Easter, guys. Thank you.